My name's Geraldine. I'm the UK and Ireland Business Development Manager with Scanning Pens. So I've got quite a broad remit, actually. I look after further education, higher education, training boards, British international schools, which would normally take me abroad. And I also look after UK independents. So I've been working in education, must be over 25 years now. So I've been working in it a long while. I've probably been with Scanning Pens about 4 years. I've predominantly worked in the further and higher education field over the years. So this presentation is probably going to take about 40 minutes, I think, and then we'll have some time for some questions at the end. So I'm not sure if you're all familiar with Scanning Pens. So I'll tell you about us. I'm going to introduce you to this reader pen, which is still en route to you, look at some benefits and features, and then I've got a training video, which I'm sure it'll be really useful for you all to watch later as well. So if you're not familiar with Scanning Pens, the company was established over 15 years ago. Our two founders are a guy called Jack Churchill, and we've also got another founder, Toby Sutton. Jack, who is one of our founders, he's actually Winston Churchill's great grandson. I always like to tell people that. But he had dyslexia throughout his education. So he was really passionate about being able to provide technology to enable anybody that has difficulty reading to access printed text and hear words aloud. And that's what our reader pens do. They convert text to speech. Yes, sorry, I'm just looking at the questions here. Yes, we are recording the session, Esther, so don't worry, you haven't missed anything. So yeah, we've got offices in the UK. So I would normally report into our Telford office, which operates out of the University of Wolverhampton campus. And then we've also got offices in the States, Canada, Australia, and Mumbai as well. So as I say, I've been with Scanning Pens about 4 years, and our pens are supplied to thousands of students all over the world, and we've got resellers dotted about in various places as well. So let's get going and tell you about these pens. So if you haven't used this technology already, you might think, well, why will Scanning Pens help? But they'll support anybody, whether they're a child, an adult, who has difficulty reading. So it supports those where the reading gap has increased. They may have dyslexia or another specific learning difficulty. They may have some challenges, including low self-esteem. So these pens really support those, improve their self-esteem, their confidence, and allow them to work independently without them having to rely on human support. It can also help those that are visually impaired as well. And if you do have any of your learners that are visually impaired, what you can ask them to do is just take an ordinary highlighter's pen and see if they can track it, guide it along the text. And if they can, in a relatively straight line, you'll know that the pen could also support them as well. It can also help those who are learning a language as well, and for those that need support with their speech and language comprehension as well, because they can do clever things like record themselves into the pen if it's a word they're unfamiliar and listen to it playback so they can test how it actually sounds. So these pens are a mid-text solution. They are really easy to use. I think it's a really nice design as well. So if you can see me on the screen here, it's smart, it's small, and I like to say it's also discreet as well. So if you saw me sat in a library or in the office somewhere, it just looks like I've got a normal highlighter pen in my hand, and that's what I'm using. I think the other good thing about these pens as well is that you're not relying on Wi-Fi. They are battery operated. So I always say treat them like you would a mobile phone. If you charge these pens up overnight, you'll get 8 hours life out of them the next day. So they'll work for a full working day. They are distraction free, so unlike other pieces of technology, there's no web browser on these or anything. It literally converts text to speech, and includes clever things like dictionaries and so on, which we'll go into in a few minutes as well. So when did you get the pens? As I say, the pens are en route to you. They should have arrived with Nicola yesterday, but apparently there's shipping delays all over at the moment, and I suppose it's coming up to Christmas and with COVID. So I think the latest from our courier is it's a Monday delivery. So hopefully you'll get your hands on these quite soon. So when you do, they come in a box and they come complete with a USB cable, which will charge the pens up. And as I say, you get 8 hours life out of them once they are fully charged. There's also an indicator battery light on the pens in the corner, which indicates whether it's fully charged or not. A good thing to point out, actually, whilst I'm talking about the battery, if the battery runs low, it will start to flash battery is low. So that can, again, be quite distractive for your users. So do ensure that it's fully charged up. They also come complete with USB cable as well. So you can connect these pens up to an external device, such as a laptop or a computer. They come complete with a leather protective case as well. And we've also got, I've normally got a lanyard on as well. They can put the pen in a lanyard and have it around their neck if they're going to be using it quite regularly. And then they also come complete with a set of earphones as well. It is a universal adapter at the base, so most users of these prefer to use their own earphones so that they can listen to the audio through the earphones. Okay, so just to go over that, they are battery operated. You don't need any Wi-Fi at all, and they will instantly read words, a line, a paragraph, or text, and it has to be printed text. It will not read handwriting. Okay, and it supports those that are dyslexic. Maybe they've got another specific learning difficulty. As I say, maybe they're partially sighted, maybe they're learning English. So there's various people these pens can help. So the basic features of the Reader pen are as we have displayed on here. So once you switch the pens on, and I do have a menu guide for this as well in this presentation, you get this screen here, okay? Text Reader, if once that's selected, indicates the pens are ready to scan text. So the user doesn't need to do anything else once it's all fully set up. And once they select Text Reader, you see I hold it on my hand, put some pressure on the pen, and it's just light pressure. They don't have to force it down. A light comes on. And when the light comes on, that indicates the pen is ready to scan. And the user would simply guide the pen along this line of text or the word. It's quite usual for users of these pens when they first start using them to relax the muscles in their hand. They need to be held as upright as possible, probably at a 75-degree angle. So watch out for that when you give them to your learners, that they need to be holding it up. Because if they relax and hold it that way, and you put the pen down onto the text, you will see the light does not come on. It needs to be held up because it's a camera in there, digital camera, that's actually picking up the text that it's scanning over. Okay, so that's what Text Reader does. It also includes a dictionary. So we've got the Collins English Dictionary, and we've also got the Oxford Primary Dictionary. So depending on which levels of literacy your learners are, most will opt for the primary dictionary because once they've scanned over a word, they're not sure of its meaning, they can select the dictionary, and the primary dictionary will give them a very simplified version. So that's normally the one that most people will select. A scan to file allows users to scan over a document. It might be a passage in a book, and it will allow them to save that content into the pen. So the pens do have storage. They could also hook it up to their laptop and perhaps open up a Word or a Google Doc application, and whatever they're scanning would automatically appear in the document on their computer, and then they can save it and share it elsewhere. The other useful tool as well is the recorder. I've known a lot of students will actually use this tool to record a lecture or record some tasks that their lecturer is giving them. I'd be a bit wary of that, and it's not designed for that, but they do use it for that purpose, and I think it all depends on noise levels that you would have in the room. The other useful thing is just reminding students they can record a message, play it back later. It might just be a reminder to themselves that they've got some work that's got to be completed by a certain deadline date, and then they can listen to that later. Settings on the pens allows you to do various things. So it allows you to change it, for instance, from left to right-handed or right-handed to left-handed. So it will support a left-handed learner. And for the left-handed learner, it will allow them to scan from right to left, and then it will read it back appropriately for them. We also have a punctuation pause, and the speed can be adjusted as to the speed at which the voice actually reads back to them. So they can slow it down or speed it right up. Okay. So just to sort of go over that again, it converts text to speech and decodes words. Learners can use the dictionary. So we've got the primary dictionary on there. And as I said, that's the most one that's obviously used, and you'll get a more simplified definition. As well as these pens supporting English as well. And I don't know if you have any learners that speak French, study French, or perhaps are learning Spanish, but these pens will read French and Spanish, but they will not translate. And it also includes a French and Spanish dictionary on there. Left to right-handed, it can be used as a voice recorder as well. Can connect it to a computer or Chromebook, and anything they scan, as I said, that can be uploaded into a Word document or a Google Doc application. So these pens, once they're charged up, there's something that your learners can carry around with them. They're totally portable. They can be used anytime, anywhere, as I say, as long as they are charged up, and hopefully it will allow your learners to work more independently without relying on other solutions you may have, such as a human reader support. So when you get the pens, they do come with a setup wizard. We did have some new releases earlier this year. So as well as selecting the language, English, French or Spanish, you can also select an accent, which also includes the Irish accent. So you guys are going to have to give me some feedback on the Irish accent, because I've not been able to update my pens with the latest software yet. So we'll see what you think of the Irish accent. And as well as the Irish, there's Australian, Indian and Scottish on there as well. These pens do have an exam lock on them. I don't know if your students or learners may be sitting exams, but there's an exam lock which disables all the features apart from the text-to-speech solution in there. The talking menu is a new feature as well. Might be quite irritating for some learners, because if you have that on, it will basically talk you through the menu as you're filtering through everything, but very useful for those perhaps that are partially sighted. And then once the users have actually scanned over some content or text, they can now access the dictionary straight away just by highlighting the word. Okay, so this slide just shows you how to use the pen basically. So I don't know if you can see my screen, but it's probably clearer on the picture there. So once you switch on your screen, you will see the display, which is text reader, okay, and dictionary. So once you're switched on, you use these cursors over here. There's a little like round circle and some navigation arrows up and down. So if I wanted to go straight into text reader, I just press the little button and I'm ready to text, or scan, should I say. And then I could just press the back button there as well. And I might just simply want to go straight into my dictionary, and it will take me into the dictionary functionality. So this is how you navigate around the pen with these navigation tools around here. And if you want to select anything, you just press the little button. The power on, power off button also acts as a back button as well. and it will take you back to the main menu. So when you get the pens, I've just set them up on the wizard. So that will take you through which accent you prefer, whether you want it left or right-handed, the language, English, French or Spanish, the speed at which you want it to read back. And then if you need to reset the wizard up, you can do so just by setting it up in the settings once you work through the menu. So you can't do anything wrong with these pens whatsoever. So I'm now going to play a little video. This is from our head of education and Senko, a lady called Julia Clouter. Again, she's worked in education for many years. She's worked with adult learners as well, and she's done a lot of work recently with learners, prison learners actually, which has been quite interesting. So let me go to the video, and hopefully you will all be able to hear this okay.
I'm just turning on the pen now with the red button. That's the power on button, and it takes just a few seconds to turn on. Grip the pen by the nib and you'll want to scan with it at a 75-degree angle. Well, let me show you these pens. The white one is the reader pen, the ExamReader is the orange one, and the brown is the Lingo pen. That's a translator. But I'm going to demonstrate the reader pen. When you turn on the reader pen, the first thing you'll see in the menu is the text reader. There's also a dictionary, scan to file, a voice recorder and settings. If I showed the ExamReader pen, the difference is that it reads 12 different languages. That means it can support a lot of people when they're reading and taking tests. A significant difference with the orange exam pen is that it has a text reader and settings. No storage, because they're designed to be locked down for examinations. Imagine 100 students in an exam hall, all with different learning needs. This is a simple device that can read different languages and be personalised. A simple exam support arrangement that eliminates the need for a human reader. Exam pen can also be used very productively through the whole term for supporting learners' reading. It doesn't just have the extra features like dictionary and storage. Let's go back to this text reader. I'm going to press OK, which is the centre wheel, and I'm going to scan across a line of text.
Place your index finger along the top of the pen, resting comfortably.
And the pen has a camera that captures the text as it scans the words on the page. Then, as it converts the text to speech, and it instantly says it out loud to you. You can repeat the whole sentence back if you want to.
Place your index finger along the top of the pen, resting comfortably.
You can also scroll through the text using the centre wheel. Holding the highlighter over a word will enlarge it. There may be a little bit of lag in this video, but what's happening is the word is spoken and highlighted together in real time. A question I get asked a lot is, can I instantly look up a word and find that definition? Yes, you can. If I select the menu button, I can choose definition and it gives you the definition.
Finger. Finger noun. Fingers. 1. One of the long thin parts that stick out on your hand. 2. Something that is shaped like a finger. Finger. Verb. Fingers. Fingering. Fingered.
There are a number of different definitions that are available. This definition is from the Oxford Primary, or OPD, and it allows you to quickly understand the word that you're seeing. Another frequently asked question is, how do I read many lines of text? To do this, we go to the menu, we go to adding mode, select append or replace. If the pen is on replace, it means the screen will clear every time you finish the scan. If the pen is set to append, it always adds on to the end. With a pen selected, you can scan many lines or even a whole page and have it read back to you. There's a low limit to how much you could be scanning or have it read back to you. I want to scan several lines of text, so I'm going to select Text Reader and start scanning and save this as a long stream of speech to text.
The type of text the student is wishing to be supported with reading is quite important at primary age.
And then the next line.
Therefore, if your student requires larger gaps between each line, then continue to do this.
I click to the right and it takes me back to the beginning. Now both lines flow together.
The type of text the student is wishing to be supported with reading is quite important at primary age. Therefore, if your student requires larger gaps between each line, then continue to do this.
If your student's quite confident at reading, you'd set up the pen with Replace. If your student struggles a lot with reading or has low vision, you'd set up the pen for Append mode. There are other settings like Speed of Playback. This allows you to slow down the speed of a word. You can also make playback pause between words or at sentence level. This can be helpful for learners with slower speeds of processing. It also gives the teacher greater control of how learning is taking place. Just to return to the dictionary function, there's a very nice feature in here that's in the history, and this is great if the student has a word list to learn or they're developing new vocabulary. The history feature saves your list. This is helpful for topic work, learning keywords, and for building familiarity.
Someone, pronoun some person.
This can help you to keep building those connections with the words. In the dictionary settings, you can use the up and the down arrows to change the dictionaries. You can see North American and Collins Dictionary, that the Oxford Primary Dictionary gives good, clear, short definitions. If the student scans a word that's not in the OPD, it'll be in the Collins. Scan to file allows you to capture lines of text and to put them into a computer via a USB lead. The information is stored. There's no software to upload onto your computer. This is the voice recorder for you to store your audio in WAV or MP3 format. The settings. The recent addition to our pen is the introduction of the wizard. Now when you turn on the pen for the first time, the wizard will ask you, do you want to turn the talking menu on or off? This allows you to customise the pen in a way that's most helpful for you. You can select your language, select an accent, you can choose for American, Indian, English, Irish, Scottish and Australian, and finally you can select for left or right-handed use.
Hi, so thank you. So hopefully you found that video useful. I'll put a link on here, but as I say, we are recording this session and I'll also send a copy of the presentation over and then you can watch the YouTube training video. We've got so much information as well on our Scanning Pens YouTube channel that you can access. You can have a look through and filter down by reader pen as well. So we've got a lot of little sort of 2-minute videos that might be useful to share with your learners as well. So as Julia mentioned, you do get the setup wizard. You'll be able to select your accent. You've got the dictionary to select as well. Whether you want the talking menu, auto read, as she explained, and the pause function, scan to file and dictaphone. So it's really quite straightforward when you get the pens just to take it through the wizard setup. And then once you're comfortable navigating around the pens, if you want to give the pen to a learner and then you're passing it over to another learner, so you're changing it from a right-handed learner to a left-handed learner, it's quite easy to go through the settings and just manually change it without doing the full wizard setup. So just take some time to familiarise yourselves with the pens and go through the menus. As I say, there's nothing you can do wrong with the pens or anything. It's just a matter of being confident to just navigate around the different features of them. Liz has said her next video is playing. Are you all back with me on the presentation? Let me just go back to this video. Has the video stopped? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why it was doing that, honestly. I normally do come on the site and do this kind of thing. Technology, honestly. Let me go back to the presentation now. There we go. So yes, I was just sort of summarising really what Julia was saying there. So when you get the pens, take them out of the box, plug the earphones in. Depending on where your learners are learning as well, they can listen to the audio through the pen as well. They don't necessarily have to have the earphones in, but if you've got a group of learners, obviously it would be easier if they put the earphones in and then they won't disturb anybody else. So for your learners, you may have adult learners that are very good at masking their needs. They'll be lacking confidence, they'll have low self-esteem, and they're perhaps even really anxious about trying out new technology. They might be really negative about it. I go out and train a lot of students as well, and I get comments like, oh, I don't need this, why am I here? I can read, why are you giving me this? And I think it's more difficult the older the learner becomes as well. And I've even had a training session with a lady who worked in the NHS actually, and she was actually reduced to tears during this session. I think I was the last of a series of training sessions that she'd had that day where they'd introduced her to various pieces of technology, and I just think she was so overwhelmed with it all. But as I say, let your learners try them out, see how they get on with them. As I say, it's the most important thing, I think, is just getting them to have a go at scanning, try the odd word. We've lots of resources we can share with you as well. So I'll point you to those links in a few minutes as well. And make sure they're holding the pen up, because I see so many going like that with it and they just won't scan correctly. Okay. And just introduce your learners to the reader pen, give them all access to try them out, make it an inclusive learning approach and talk about learning, and discourage any negative talk, because I find in larger groups you do get that because they just won't embrace this technology. But if they do, it's life-changing for them because it is something that they can take anytime, anywhere, and use it anywhere really, because you're not relying on Wi-Fi or anything. So it will improve their reading comprehension. We've got lots of studies that we've done with external organisations. We've got a study from the University of Bath that we can share with you if you're interested. It's socially inclusive as well. And depending on the age of your learners, you know, they may already be working, they may be training so that they're workplace ready. Again, these are something they can invest in themselves and purchase themselves so that they can have it on them all the time, and it will really increase their independence and confidence. Julia was the voiceover on our little training video there. So Julia is contactable if you had any questions. She is an ex-Senko as well. She's worked in education for many years. She's worked in PRUs as well. So you can contact Julia direct with any specific questions. She also offers training sessions as well. So her introduction session is probably very similar to this one actually, but then she also runs sessions on implementation, how to deploy the tools for successful interventions, and she can combine strategies for dyslexia-friendly learning, so she can have discussions with you around that as well. She's got lots of resources as well, so you can go and have a look at the link on there for Higher Education Resources SP UK and see what she's got. So she's got a introductory pen booklet, should I say, how to actually use the pens, questions to ask your students, some surveys as well that you might find you may want to have a look at those as well. So that's really coming to the end of the presentation. It can't be connected to a smartphone, I don't think, Philip. I've not come across that before, but I will check. But I think the answer to that is a no, but I will. It's a normal USB connector. So I'll ask the question for you. But does anybody have any questions? As I say, this session is recorded. You probably have more questions perhaps when you do receive the pens. So you can get in touch with me at geraldine@scanningpens.com, or just you can telephone me direct and we can have a conversation. As I say, there's lots of information available on our website as well. We've got lots of case studies on Reader Pen use and videos as well. If you go to readerpen/case studies, colleges, universities, readerpen.co.uk, and do take a look at the Scanning Pens YouTube channel. We also run monthly webinars as well. I've actually got a webinar coming up on the 27th of January. I don't think it's been published yet on our Scanning Pens webinar site, but it's the 27th of January, and it's with a lady called Laura Stevens. She was awarded the Pearson Silver Award for the college use of technology. So she's based at Barton Sixth Form College in England. But she's going to be running a webinar talking about how to get students and learners to embrace assistive technology. So that might be when, if you're free on the 27th of January, it's at 11 AM, but I don't think that's been published yet. So I'll send Nicola a little reminder about that, because you may wish to join that, or just check the webinar site in the new year. So that's it.